iconic comedy show, the puppet satire Spitting Image was back, but this time he is being mercilessly, ruthlessly mocked.
I'm Megan Sussex, and I'm a good person.
Imagine a holiday TV special that wasn't about cozy fires or festive cheer, but instead turned into a full-blown cultural sensation overnight. The British satirical puppet show Spitting Image, famous for mercilessly skewering politicians and celebrities for decades, has once again made headlines. This time with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry at the center of its sharp, outrageous humor. Could a puppet caricature really rattle a duchess enough to bring her to tears? Or is this just the latest twist in the ongoing saga of royal satire? You know how sometimes a show comes along that seems like it's just for laughs, but ends up becoming way more than that. That's exactly what's happened with Spitting Image and its latest Christmas special, which has somehow turned into one of the most talked about pop culture moments of the year. At the center of all the chatter is Meghan Markle, or at least a puppet version of her. And yes, there are claims out there saying she was in tears after being mocked on live TV. Let's unpack all of this in a way that makes sense, feels like two friends talking, and gives you all the context you need. First, let's rewind and talk about Spitting Image itself. If you've never heard of it before, imagine a show where nothing is sacred and no one is off limits. It's a British satirical puppet show that started way back in the 1980s, and it quickly became famous, or infamous, for its razor-sharp lampoons of politicians, celebrities, and public figures. These weren't cute puppet versions for kids. They were exaggerated caricatures designed to make people laugh, but also make them think about how these figures are portrayed and perceived in the media. Back in the day, Spitting Image was a TV phenomenon, even winning awards and pulling huge audiences in the UK. After a few decades off the air, Spitting Image came back with a modern reboot. The revival continued the tradition of using rubbery, oversized puppets and biting humor to satirize the powerful and famous. What makes Spitting Image different from standard comedy sketches or celebrity impressions is that it's rooted in satire. Not just teasing someone for the sake of a joke, but highlighting through exaggeration and absurdity how society sees these figures and how they behave. When you watch an episode, you're seeing more than rubber faces and goofy voices. You're seeing commentary on culture, politics, and media. That's why clips from the show often go viral globally, sparking conversations far beyond Britain's borders. Now, fast forward to the end of 2025, when Spitting Image released a special Christmas episode that took its satire to another level. This wasn't just a short skit or a small gag. This was a full-on holiday-themed roast, and at the center of much of that humor were puppets of Meghan Markle and her husband, Prince Harry. These puppet versions didn't just show up for a quick joke. They were front and center, playing exaggerated roles in sketches that poked fun at Meghan's much-publicized forays into Hollywood life, her lifestyle branding, and her Netflix projects, and at Harry's attempt to carve out a new identity after stepping back from senior royal duties. One of the reasons this particular special caught fire online is because it leaned hard into poking fun at Meghan's Netflix lifestyle series, With Love, Meghan. You might remember that show. It was meant to showcase her hosting, cooking, and lifestyle tips from her beautiful California estate. But critics and audiences didn't exactly embrace it. On the review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, the holiday special edition of With Love, Meghan scored a very low critics rating, sitting at around 14%, meaning most critics didn't find it very compelling or successful. That's fertile ground for satire, and Spitting Image certainly took advantage of it. In the Christmas sketches, the Meghan puppet would be involved in scenes that exaggerated both her personality and the perceived awkwardness of her media ventures. Whether it was pretending she had odd cooking habits, bumping into other celebrities in bizarre ways, or scrambling to find relevance in Hollywood, the humor was pointed and unrestrained. Harry's character didn't escape either, often shown trying and failing at various jobs or ideas, poking fun at his post-royal career search.
The puppet sneers. Don't talk to me like that. I'm a duchess. And just like that, Meghan Markle got roasted live on national television.
Are you joking?
Meghan, God.
The self-proclaimed Duchess of Montecito was shredded to pieces on spitting image.
Now, where does the Meghan Markle in tears part come from? That's where things get a little messy and interesting. There have been videos and social media posts, like YouTube clips discussing the special, that dramatize Meghan's reaction as if she exploded with emotion after seeing the puppet poke fun at her on live TV. One popular video even uses the phrase, "Meghan Markle explodes after live TV mockery," painting a vivid picture for viewers. But here's the thing. Most of the reports about her being in tears or having an emotional breakdown are based on sensationalized headlines or speculation in reaction videos, not verified, direct statements from Meghan herself or her official representatives. This is pretty common in pop culture news, where anything involving a globally recognized public figure gets amplified quickly online. Some commentators and Reddit threads even suggest royal insiders or commentators claim she's distressed by her portrayal, but these are far from confirmed facts. Still, the idea that a satirical puppet could rattle someone has become part of the broader conversation about fame today. With a lifetime of public scrutiny from tabloids to late-night shows, Meghan has seen her fair share of jokes and criticism. But Spitting Image's Christmas special brought a very particular kind of spotlight, one that combines cultural satire with holiday cheer in an ironic twist. That combo made it irresistible to social media users, critics, and gossip pages alike. It's the kind of moment that becomes meme fodder and trending conversation because it taps into both celebrity culture and public perception of everyday life as a royal turned Hollywood personality. Another thing worth noting is that audiences on both sides of the conversation reacted loudly. Some people absolutely loved the satire, saying it was a brilliant way to hold a mirror up to celebrity culture and Meghan's own carefully crafted public image. Others felt it was too harsh, or even mean-spirited, arguing that satire has its limits and public ridicule shouldn't cross certain lines. That tension between humor and harm is part of what makes stories like this so sticky in our cultural moment. So even though there's no direct proof Meghan was literally in tears watching this special on TV, the very idea of that reaction tells you how powerful satire can be. When a puppet show, yes, a puppet show, becomes one of the biggest talking points of the holiday season, it means something about our media landscape. It means we live in an era where entertainment, public image, and cultural critique blur together in ways that are both hilarious and uncomfortable. Spitting Image did what it's always done best. It took real people with real influence and turned them into symbols, exaggerated, distorted, hilarious, and sometimes a little ruthless. And whether Meghan Markle was personally upset about it or not, the fact that so many people are talking about it shows just how connected satire and celebrity have become.
In microwave. What is microwave? I don't think we have any of that. Harry, do we have any microwave?
Are you fucking dumb?
It's a microwave.
You know how sometimes a fun holiday TV special is supposed to make you smile, maybe laugh a little, and get into the festive spirit. Well, the Spitting Image Christmas special did all of those things, but not in the way Meghan Markle probably hoped. Instead of heartwarming holiday joy, it delivered razor-sharp satire aimed right at Meghan's public image, her Hollywood efforts, and especially her Netflix Christmas show. And the internet lost it. There are even viral clips and reaction videos claiming Meghan was upset or in tears after seeing her puppet caricature mocked on live TV and online. Whether that's true or not is a whole other question, but the buzz around it says a lot about how satire hits differently when it involves someone as famous and scrutinized as Meghan Markle. First off, Spitting Image isn't your average comedy sketch show. It's a British satire institution that's been around for decades, famous for using exaggerated rubber puppets to lampoon politicians and pop culture icons alike. Think of it like the wild cousin of the caricatures you see in editorial cartoons. Except these are life-size puppets making fun of public figures in ways that can be as hilarious as they are brutal. The show's modern reboot continues this tradition with puppets of everyone from world leaders to major celebrities, and in its latest Christmas special, it put Meghan Markle and Prince Harry squarely in the spotlight. Now, let's get into what those jokes actually looked like. The satirists behind Spitting Image didn't just give Meghan a quick cameo. They made her puppety central figure in a series of sketches that poked fun at her so-called Hollywood comeback and the image she's trying to create in the public eye. One of the main targets of the parody was Meghan's Netflix lifestyle content, especially her holiday-themed episode of With Love, Meghan, which was meant to show her sharing cozy traditions and festive recipes, but instead drew heavy criticism from reviewers and audiences alike. That special currently sits with a critically low approval rating, around 14%, on review aggregator sites, with critics labeling the episode mad, cringe, and a little bit sad.
Okay, Megs, go.
Megan Sussex, reading for Jaws. We're going to need a bigger house. What I do have is a very particular set of skills.
In the Spitting Image sketches, Meghan's puppet was shown in scenarios that exaggerated both the quirks and perceived awkwardness of her Netflix project. Instead of a warm, relatable holiday host, the caricature came off as over-the-top and oddly out of place, highlighting the gap between the carefully curated image Meghan might be trying to project and how some people actually perceive it. The satire leaned into the image versus reality narrative in a way that felt blunt, unapologetic, and intentionally provocative. Exactly the kind of thing that sparks conversation and sometimes outrage online. It wasn't only her TV projects taking hits. The show also seemed to mock aspects of Meghan's broader Hollywood persona. A duchess turned celebrity producer carving out a niche in lifestyle branding after leaving royal life behind. In this parody world, the puppet Meghan was enthusiastically pitching everything from beauty products to self-help vibes, giving the audience an exaggerated glimpse of what critics see as her relentless self-promotion. The humor was sharp and unsparing, designed to push buttons and make people laugh because it was over the top. And laugh people did, or at least react strongly. Of course, satire only works when it hits a nerve. And that's exactly what happened here. Once clips from Spitting Image began circulating online, social media lit up with commentary. Some people found the sketches hilarious, praising the show for holding a mirror up to celebrity culture and poking fun at a very public figure who has been both adored and criticized in equal measure. But others felt it went too far, arguing that the jokes were mean-spirited or too personal. This split in public reaction is part of why the story gained traction so quickly.
Someone's cousin's friend once saw her assistant at Whole Foods. And just like that, the silence became the story. Because sometimes, not saying a word is louder than any PR statement, especially when the whole world's already laughing.
And then there's the whole thing about Meghan being in tears. On YouTube and other social platforms, clips with dramatic titles like Spitting Image's Christmas special goes viral, Meghan Markle explodes after live TV mockery, suggests that seeing her puppet caricature mocked so sharply led to an emotional response from Meghan in real life. These videos and commentary pieces talk about Meghan being upset, even fuming, after the special aired. But here's the important thing. None of this comes from verified statements by Meghan herself or her official team. Most of the talk about her reactions comes from reaction videos, gossip channels, and speculation by commentators rather than trustworthy, direct reporting. There's no confirmed evidence that she was actually moved to tears or publicly addressed the special in an emotional way. That doesn't stop the narrative from spreading, though. When a celebrity with as much media attention as Meghan Markle is involved, people are going to fill in the blanks with opinion, speculation, and sometimes outright dramatization. Headlines that hint at emotional breakdowns or intense reactions get clicks, and once they're out there, they can take on a life of their own. Some coverage describes her as angered or fuming. Again, based on interpretation of how satire hits differently when the caricature feels personal. But without an official statement or direct confirmation, this remains part of the speculative buzz surrounding the story. What makes this situation especially interesting is how it reflects the modern media landscape. Satire, like Spitting Image, thrives on exaggeration and bold humor, and it often says more about how people feel about a public figure than how that figure actually feels. When you mix that with social media, reaction channels, and a global audience that loves to debate celebrity moments, you get a perfect storm of interpretation, opinion, and sometimes misinformation.
So I'm preparing my guests some soul food that my British husband calls a packet of crisps. It can be a tricky dish to master, especially when a packet is being
In other words, the jokes themselves, funny as they were to some and biting as they were to others, became part of a bigger conversation about Meghan's public image, her creative projects, and how sharply commentary can sting when it targets someone's carefully built persona. Whether Meghan was genuinely hurt by the satire or not is something only she knows for sure. But the fact that people are still talking about it weeks after the show aired says something about how powerful and pervasive satire can be in shaping public discourse. Ultimately, Spitting Image didn't just make jokes at Meghan's expense. It turned her into a cultural talking point once again, proving that in today's world, even a puppet version of someone can have a real impact on the headline conversation.
On live television by Latex, Felt, and Zero Mercy. Hello, followers. You know little old me is a high-profile, high-success global brand creating vulnerable and humble business leaders.
It's funny how a TV show meant to make people laugh at holiday silliness turned into a full-blown cultural moment. And somehow Meghan Markle became the face of that moment, at least according to social media chatter and reaction videos. The Spitting Image Christmas special, which came out recently and poked fun at Meghan and Prince Harry, spread like wildfire online. Clips, memes, and commentary were everywhere within hours of its release. And in the midst of that, you'll see headlines and clips claiming Meghan Markle in tears after seeing her caricature mocked on live TV and online. But the real story here isn't some verified emotional breakdown. It's about how satire, public perception, and celebrity intersect in one of the most talked about pop culture moments of the year. Let's start with Meghan herself. She's one of the most polarizing modern public figures you can think of. Loved and defended fervently by some, and criticized or mocked by others. That polarizing effect doesn't come out of nowhere. From her acting career to marrying into the British royal family, to stepping back from royal duties and launching media ventures with Prince Harry, she's been in the spotlight for years. Her projects outside the palace walls, especially her Netflix specials like with Love, Meghan, have become a favorite target for both praise from supporters and mockery from critics. In many ways, those shows are at the heart of why Spitting Image set its sights on her in the Christmas special. Really, it makes sense why a satire show would focus on, with Love, Meghan when deciding what to roast. The Netflix Christmas special was widely criticized by reviewers when it came out. According to Rotten Tomatoes, the holiday episode of the show had a very low 14% approval rating from critics, and many reviewers called it awkward, out of touch, or simply hard to enjoy. Critics described it as mad and sad, and said it felt self-indulgent and frantic with holiday cheer. Some even advised viewers to brace themselves before pressing play, because the episode's vibe was so bizarre and overly curated that it felt more like an odd holiday advert than a genuine celebration. It wasn't just a few critics with that view. Across outlets, reviewers used phrases like "so painfully contrived" and "baffling" to describe the series, noting that it often felt like it was trying too hard to make Meghan seem relatable, while actually coming off as staged or insincere. This backdrop of criticism gave Spitting Image a rich foundation to build its sketches on, because satire thrives on exaggerating what people are already talking about. And what many viewers and critics were talking about was how strange or awkward the holiday special felt.
I've decided my time is better spent doing less, and so I'll be coming on here to patronize you through your phone.
Each sketch hit harder than the last. Meghan Sussex auditioning like royalty for attention.
So what kind of jokes did Spitting Image actually make about Meghan? The satire was sharp and unapologetic, and that's exactly why it ignited such intense discussion online. The show didn't just lightly tease Meghan. It put her puppet front and center in exaggerated holiday scenes that leaned into the most talked about parts of her public image. In the sketches, Meghan's Hollywood comeback was played up and blown out of proportion, rather than a graceful transition from royal life to media personality. The puppet version of Meghan was shown as overzealous in trying to appeal to audiences, pitching everything from lifestyle branding to quirky holiday projects in ways that seemed almost desperate. It was less a celebration of her creative ventures and more a comedic reflection of how some people perceive those efforts, like a celebrity trying too hard to stay relevant, mocked through the lens of satire. The show also highlighted what it saw as awkward moments from her Netflix Christmas special. The real version of With Love, Meghan had scenes of holiday crafting, cooking, and seasonal celebration that, honestly, didn't land with a lot of critics. Some even found parts of the show uncomfortable to watch, precisely because they seemed so carefully curated, yet oddly disconnected from everyday holiday experiences. The satire in Spitting Image exaggerated these elements to the extreme, making jokes about forced holiday cheer, weird product pitches, and scenes that felt like they came straight out of an ad campaign rather than a heartfelt Christmas celebration. Critics had already hinted that the show felt like white noise or background fluff, and Spitting Image turned that into punchlines in its sketches. What tied these jokes together was a recurring theme of image versus reality. Meghan's media projects, especially her Netflix specials, have always walked that tightrope, trying to show a warm, approachable holiday host or lifestyle guru, while also being seen by some viewers as staged or unattainable. Spitting Image took that tension and aired it out for comedic effect. The puppets weren't just delivering jokes. They were embodying public perceptions of Meghan's carefully crafted image and exaggerating it until it became absurd. That kind of satire can be funny, but it can also feel pointed or personal, especially when it riffs on someone's real-world project. That brings us to the Meghan Markle in Tears narrative that started circulating online. After the Christmas special aired and clips began spreading on social media, reaction videos and commentary channels started posting dramatic clips with titles like Spitting Image's Christmas special goes viral, Meghan Markle explodes after live TV mockery. Those videos paint a picture of Meghan being deeply upset, even in tears, over the puppet caricature being mocked so publicly. But here's the important thing. There's no authoritative confirmation from Meghan herself or her representatives that she actually had an emotional breakdown or cried over the special. Most of the claims about her reaction come from reaction channels, sensational headlines, and commentators interpreting the satire as a personal attack. Some coverage describes her as fuming or angered, suggesting that when satire feels personal, it can sting more than when it's directed at a faceless idea or concept. But again, that interpretation is largely speculative and based on reaction videos rather than any official statement or verified report. Meanwhile, online audiences were quick to latch onto the satire in their own ways. Some people used the moment to mock Meghan's media strategy, creating memes and jokes that spread across platforms within hours. Others rushed to her defense, arguing that the satire went too far, and that making fun of someone's personal projects in such a public and exaggerated way could feel mean-spirited. What this moment ultimately revealed is just how divided public opinion is when it comes to Meghan Markle. She is someone who inspires intense support from fans and equally intense criticism from detractors, and a satirical puppet show just amplified that divide. So while the claim that Meghan was in tears after seeing the Spitting Image Christmas special might make for a dramatic headline, the real story is about the broader cultural conversation around her public image. From a Netflix show that critics widely panned for feeling staged and awkward, to satire that gleefully exaggerated those same qualities, this moment shows how satire and celebrity intersect in ways that can go viral faster than actual facts. And whether Meghan laughed along, felt offended, or stayed silent, the world watched and reacted in real time.